Inventions.
The behind-the-scenes tales of hit products and creations from Japan. This is Japan's Top Inventions. This time, the story behind personal information protection stamps.
Japan's Top Inventions. Top Inventions.
Many households receive advertising mail. When throwing it out, some worry about their name and address being seen. That's where this stamp comes in. Just press it onto text you want to hide. The text is made illegible by black ink. It's all possible thanks to this distinct alphabetic design. Every aspect was carefully thought out, from which letters to use, how thick to make them, and in which way to tilt them. This stamp and its pattern make getting rid of text a breeze. The stamps are now used in over 20 countries and regions. The creation of these unique stamps was overseen by this man, an innovator at a stationery maker. He was inspired by counterfeit protection copy paper. A large manufacturer known for its stationery. In 2007, it developed this first version of its personal information protection stamp. The stamp face features a unique alphabetic pattern that hides text. In total, over 12 million units of this series have been shipped worldwide, making it a long-time bestseller.
Our story begins in 2005. A personal information protection law had been passed in Japan. More people than ever became aware of the need to protect their information. Many felt uneasy throwing out mail with their name and address still visible. One stationery maker saw a business opportunity. It put together a team to create a product that would help households dispose of their mail safely. One of the team's lead members was Soeda Shuichi, who remembers things like this.
The mood in society at the time was all about protecting your personal information. We decided to go for a new product to do just that. Not for office use, but for use in the home.
First, Soeda and team looked at products from other firms. At the time, there was a type of scissors on the market with multiple blades for cutting up paper. They tried it out. It created many thin scraps of paper. Cleanup was a hassle. The team wondered if there was a simpler way to erase text in one go. Soeda spent many days deep in thought. One day, he got a piece of information from a business partner. An acquaintance who works at a stamp company made a prototype for fun. It might inspire you somehow. It was a stamp with ink built into its body. Stamp a piece of paper, and it left barcode-like stripes.
In Japan, we use stamps to put our names on documents. The idea was to use them to print something else. Using it was fun. I found myself stamping again and again. I realized that the act of using a stamp is quite fun. It made me think we could use stamps for our new invention somehow.
Soeda and his team wanted to create a product that would hide text with just a simple stamp. The key would be in the pattern they used. For reference, they turned to the clear file folders made by another team at the company. Multiplication and addition symbols on the folders made the contents inside hard to read. They tried it. But it didn't hide the text completely.
It had lots of little X's and pluses lined up. You could try to hide the text with them, but at the wrong angle, it would be quite legible. We realized that pattern wouldn't quite cut it.
For a fresh start, Soeda and team turned to computers. With image processing software, they tried out a variety of patterns, overlaying text and testing whether it would be legible. Here are some patterns they tried. Mesh, checkerboard, stars. But with each, the underlying text was still readable.
We tried optical illusion-style patterns too. But within those repetitive lines, where there's text underneath, printed or handwritten, your eye tends to focus on it. We realized there was a limit to trying to hide text with patterns.
If patterns were no good, how about a block of black ink? No luck. The ink was repelled by the text, making it visible. The team tried over 100 prototypes, but none successfully hid text. Soeda found himself at a loss. However, one day, he had an idea. How about hiding text with text? His inspiration came from counterfeit protection copy paper used for important documents. When such paper is copied, the word copy appears all over the page.
If you're trying to hide text, why not hide it with other text? That was my idea. It's the same concept as hiding a tree in the forest, hiding one thing among other similar things. Up to that point, we hadn't thought of it in those terms.
Soeda and team returned to the computer. First, they created a pattern made of words. They tried it to find. In some places, gaps between the letters. The underlying text could be read. But the alphabet is made up of 26 letters. If you chose the right letters and arranged them skillfully, could you better hide the text? Soeda and team built many combinations and tried them one by one. Here are some arrangements they tried. Letters like C, U, and L have a lot of empty space, so they don't hide text well. But letters like M, G, and K are sharper, with more right angles, so they hide text better.
M, for example, has angles that are about 30 degrees. That helps cover the text underneath. Or take B. It has bulges, making the text underneath even harder to read. Things like that started to become clear.
Soeda also looked to the tilt of the letters themselves.
I wondered if we couldn't flip letters around for better concealment. B, for example, it has a vertical line, 3 horizontal lines, and bulges. If we tilted it, it would draw diagonal lines through the vertical text underneath, making it harder to read. We figured out things like that through trial and error.
With that, this alphabet-based pattern was completed in July 2007. It was turned into a stamp, and their first personal information protection stamp was born. Soeda chose to debut the prototype at a stationary trade fair in Tokyo. Wholesalers from around the world flocked to this yearly fair, one of Japan's largest, to make business deals.
If wholesalers don't show interest, the product doesn't reach shops or, ultimately, customers. The idea was to have them try out the stamp, let them enjoy the fun of using it.
In front of a buyer who showed interest, the team placed a mock-up of a piece of ad mail. If the stamp didn't successfully hide the name and address, the market would soon be full of poor word of mouth. Would it really work? Nervously, Soeda watched the buyer try out the stamp. The underlying text was rendered illegible.
Wow, you can hide text just by stamping it. That was the reaction. The buyer was a bit surprised and asked to try it again, stamping over and over, both on the blank space and on another address sample. Just as I'd hoped, the fun of stamping really came across.
With that, the Personal Information Protection Stamp won acclaim for the first time. 5 months later, sales began around Japan.
Top Inventions.
Thereafter, the stamp won fans not just in Japan, but worldwide. There are now stamps that roll on, and ones that cover just one line of text. Here's one that stamps fast. They all employ the same alphabetic pattern as the first model.
We came up with 100 ideas and used only the final one. But it's not as if the 99 were just a waste. The seeds of the good idea came from the husks of those other 99. So those ideas were essential too. They're the result of hard, earnest work on our product. And they're valuable proof that the most important thing for an inventor is to think long and hard to create something great. That's their true meaning.